Twitch, how y'all doing? Facebook, what's up? TikTok, what's up? YouTube, Twitch. We are here today. We're talking male mental health. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? If you're new on Facebook, got a little blubber about myself. I say, if you're new here, my name is Kojo, and I post about mental health, comedy, and education. Feel free to stick around. If you're watching on TikTok, you probably know who I am and how we do things here. We're going to talk about male mental health, and I want some structure to these live streams. I want some structure. So, in the name of structure, what we're going to do for 30 minutes, we'll talk about male mental health, right? So 30 minutes from now is like what? All right. California time, maybe 6:50. All right. So after 30 minutes, we'll do a Q&A. Q&A about anything, any and everything. Just talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. But first, I want to talk about male mental health. Austin, what's up? What's up, Austin? Austin from Missouri. I don't know why that trips me up every now and then. Male mental health. I want to start this live stream by saying rest in peace to John Brankus. He's an American film producer and director. He was the host of Sports Science. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm a big sports fan. If you watch my content, you see that I have a lot of Titans gear in my content. I got the Braves jersey on in a couple of different videos. So sports is a big part of my life, and it means a lot to me. John Brankus is an Emmy award-winning host, and I grew up watching this guy. And I like these shows like Sports Science, Around the Horn. It brings back so much nostalgia for me. And when I see, his face or his name or anybody who's affiliated with my childhood as it relates to sports, it really, it means something to you. And he passed away, I want to say either yesterday or a couple days ago. Yeah. So on the 31st of May, John Brankus passed away, died by suicide. That was the cause of death. A lot of times when this happens, some people don't want to, have the cause of death out there because there's a lot of shame and stigma that comes with mental health in general. So, I know people who have lost family members, who died by suicide, and they don't disclose the details. And, we're all, we all have the right to do things the way that we want to do it. But I do think that the family disclosing the details of the death is helpful because depression can be something that people are ashamed of, and especially men. Whether you talk about, oh, you need me? No. Oh, come on through. Oh, move freely. I'm about to say, right? The video we could do too. Oh, what video? Talk about depression, I don't know his name, but the guy that died in sports. I'm down. Write down the idea and let them know system to crank it out. I'm down. I'm down to crank out some skits to, promote mental health. Shout out to Chandler, by the way. Chandler, Kansas State graduate, in from Atlanta, Georgia, on the team full time. I'm happy to have him. R.I.P. Brankus, like Dapper Dan said, R.I.P. Brankus. And I just made a video today talking about depression in males. Depression presents differently between men and women. So what I found when it comes to guys and feeling low and feeling sad is that most men, we understand that in order for us to be loved or in order for us to be fully appreciated, we have to bring something of value to the world. So we tell ourselves that, okay, like we're judged based off of how useful we are, which is true. But that doesn't mean that our value lies in our usefulness, but we are judged based on how, how much help we provide to however amount of people, so, oh, come on, TikTok, why'd y'all do it to me? TikTok, come on. They put a restriction on my live stream, and TikTok, I want to comply with the rules. I'm trying to find the most, appropriate way to talk about these things, but kids need to know about depression and mental health, but I know that I have to abide by the rules TikTok. So I'm sorry for Sorry for being real. But yeah, TikTok. I'll talk to my people at TikTok and see if they can take off that restriction, because I'm just trying to educate the public. I'm not trying to sensationalize anything. I just want to educate people about depression. That's all. Ashley on Facebook, thank you. Savage Clark, how are you? DTP Brown, I appreciate you. So yeah, TikTok. Oh, they took out the restriction. Oh, no, they didn't take it off. It's still there. It's still there. Okay. All right. Well, my original point was that in men, if a guy and a girl come to the clinic, right, and they're both depressed, you can help the woman feel better by making her feel better about herself, right? Now, with the guy, it's going to be a little different. You can help a guy feel better by making him feel better about himself. But for guys, our focal point is we want to actually be better, and we're able to push through without feeling better, which is a good life skill. It's good for us to know how to push through even though we don't feel good. But it's better to be good, and that way you can put yourself in a position where you can feel good all the time, or most of the times. So for guys, if you're able to help a guy feel more useful, it's going to lift his depression. Like, man, we need a sense of purpose. We need an occupation. We need a way to make money. We need a way to make ourselves feel better. We need a way to take care of our loved ones and family members and friends. All that stuff is going to help us out. With women, if you can make somebody feel better, they'll normally start to get better. I don't know what, at least in John Brankus's case, I don't know what the details were. I just know him from sports science. And that's the thing about us as guys. Like, guys will really get together and hang out at the barbershop and laugh and check up on people's families, and guys will be the life of the party the whole time. Somebody could be planning to to not be here anymore. Somebody could be like hopeless as ever, and you would never know it, because we're laughing and we're smiling. We're just doing our thing. But I think that creating a safe space where guys can come together and say, hey, I don't feel too good right now. I will be good later on, but right now I don't feel too good. That's a powerful thing. Ron from West Alabama. That's my boy, Ron. Ron, how you doing? How are you doing, Ron? That's my guy. Aspen, I appreciate that. I love your videos on ADHD. And guys, I know y'all love it when I'm able to weave ADHD and autism into these discussions. One of my favorite rappers, Mac Miller, has a quote. He says, pain is a funny thing when you can't figure out the source. Shout out to my boy Yako Banks on the stream. Pain is a funny thing when you can't figure out the source, right? If you're depressed and you don't know what's causing your depression, it's gonna make you feel like you're going crazy. And a lot of times, what's behind somebody's depression is undiagnosed neurodivergence, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, so on and so forth. And if that's the case, then it's frustrating, because you go to the doctor and they give you Zoloft and the questionnaire and they send you back home and you take the medication, but you're not quite feeling better, right? And that's why all the content that we post about neurodivergence, it's suicide prevention. Because when people realize that they're neurodivergent and they get the proper help and they understand themselves better, that helps to make the depression go away. I'll be outside, bro. All right, bet. It helps the depression go away. So a lot of people who have the diagnosis of depression, their depression is secondary to undiagnosed ADHD, undiagnosed autism. Sometimes their depression is not actually depression, it's bipolar disorder, but they got the wrong diagnosis. All right. So if we don't have the right diagnosis and the right help, we're further and further away from getting back on track. But for the guy out there, and even for the ladies too, this is not just a guy only live stream, but this is for the ladies too. I got some TikTok gifts. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. For the guys out there who are feeling hopeless, if you're feeling hopeless and helpless, and you feel like life is just, handing you L after L after L, and you're at like you're exasperated. The best thing to do in that moment is to talk to somebody, a friend, a loved one, maybe even like journal your thoughts and just write some things out. Because when you perseverate, and when I say perseverate, talking about thinking about something over and over and over and over. Have you noticed how if you're thinking about something that makes you upset and you keep thinking about it, it doesn't make you feel better? Think about that. When's the last time that you thought about something that upsets you, and the more you thought about it, you started to feel better? And guys, look, I'm not the coach, so I know this, but I still try and outthink my brain. Like I'll think about something that upsets me, and instead of going to the gym, which I know would solve my problems, like that's what I like to do. I feel stuck here, I go to the gym, and after an hour and a half, I leave the gym, and I'm like, I'm on top of the world. Like I feel good. I have no issues. Life is amazing. I want to live forever. Like I could just have gone to the gym, but no, I want to sit at home and I want to think to myself like, man, like if I can, we have to do something. We have to take some type of action. Bradley, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. We have to take some type of action. Action is what defeats the anxiety. And Michelle says we need to break the stigma so people don't feel right. Because pride is very important to us as men. So if we feel like we're going to be judged a certain way, we're not going to open up. Kate Smith said, you've helped so many and with so much. Keep it up. It's amazing balls. Booty shake. Okay. A little booty shake. Okay. A little booty shake going to make everything all right. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it. Javon says the gym definitely works. The gym most definitely works. And the funny thing about the gym is if you're feeling low, you don't want to go to the gym. But then when you get to the gym, you feel a million times better. Like I challenge anybody in the live stream right now. When's the last time that you went to the gym and you had a great workout and you left the gym feeling worse? I'll look through the comment section right now. Let me know when's the last time you went to the gym and you left feeling worse. And if you were injured at the gym, that doesn't count. I'm talking about mentally. Or if I have anxiety about breathing and the gym makes me out of breath. Ron, I would say just take it easy. So some days I go to the gym, I don't have any energy. I just go to the gym to walk on a treadmill, not run, but walk. I'm in the gym with my gym wear, my gym shorts. I just walk on a treadmill for 10 minutes and I leave. That way I can keep my streak up. That way I can prove to myself that I am the person that I think I am. Whenever you do something over and over with confidence or with repetition, it boosts your confidence. Michaela, yes, it's a great point. Leah says, I haven't been to the gym in so long. And look, if you can't even go to the gym, can you go outside and go for a walk? Man says, I used to go for jogs in 9th grade. Good times, fond memories, good music. Right, like we lost the art of walking. Why did we stop walking? People don't walk anymore. I mean, I'm in Alaska right now, and I see people walking outside. It blows my mind. People run in California. People go jogging, but people don't walk anymore. And in Georgia and Tennessee, in the South, where I grew up, people don't walk or run outside. Why did we stop walking? Why did we stop going outside and we can go outside and touch some grass and feel better. Like literally, I will go outside and I will touch some grass. I'll smell it and I'll say, oh, I touched grass today. And it sounds so silly. Like I tell y'all to do this, but it sounds so silly. Like when I'm feeling anxious and I go outside and I touch grass, as I'm doing it, I don't feel real. I feel like I just feel silly. Like I'm out here touching grass. But the fact that I got up, I put my shoes on, I had to leave the house, lock the house, walk outside the front door, go touch some grass. No, that's a lot to be proud of. You went outside and you got some work done. Moments of Essence on YouTube says, I love walking outside, especially during sunset. Sunset. What a beautiful time. I try to walk daily. It gives me peace. It's very peaceful to walk. And when you walk, you can get things off of your mind, off your brain. These are all things that we can do that are $0, 0 cents. Because if we're talking about somebody who's depressed, it's gonna be very difficult to don't ever tell a depressed person to do more than one thing at a time. That's actually really good advice. Now I think about it. And theoretically, just using my marketing and sales brain, you don't want to give people more than one thing to do at a time. Like say, oh, I got this, air fryer. It cooks chicken. It cooks steak. It cooks cakes. No, give people one thing at one time. Make things easy for people. If somebody's depressed, especially, don't give them two things. Don't say, hey, I need you to walk the dog and take the trash out. No, just one thing. I'd love it if you help me out by walking the dog. There we go. You walk the dog, go outside, walk the dog, come back inside. Freeze, everybody, clap your hands. You have to make things simple. Every day I struggle in my quest for simplicity, whether it's with the business or everything. I just like to make things complicated. I don't know if it's ADHD or I don't know if it's anxiety. I mean, it's probably those two and something else, but my brain wants to make things complex. I feel like if things are simple, it's silly. But the more simple something is, the easier it is for us to get it done. When we get things done, it improves our confidence. And this type of stuff is not gonna fix, like major depression, but it's gonna put you, well on your way to making a change in your life. We gotta get some momentum. I live in Montana and I love to walk around the lake. I love to touch grass with my feet. Recently, I've started grounding for self-care. Let me show y'all how. So when we talk about like stimming, for example, stimming is a way that you can regulate yourself. A lot of neurodivergent people do that. So stimming helps you regulate yourself. Grounding can help you regulate yourself. And when we feel like we're out of balance or we're dysregulated, we don't know where we are in proportion to the rest of the earth or the world. So sometimes it's helpful to go outside. Pretend I'm outside right now, and I'm just standing outside. I'm breathing in the air. I'm aware of the fact that, well, I'm not outside, but I'm inside. If I were outside, I'm breathing the air. I have both of my feet on the ground. I'm aware of the fact that to my left, I have a phone here and a laptop here. I'm streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, TikTok, YouTube, both my YouTube pages. In front of me is a clock. The clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. It's a red clock. And the hands on the clock are both red. And the times are black. I got a light to my right here. The windows are open. I'm aware of the fact that I'm talking and people can hear me outside. Nobody's behind me. Nobody else is in this apartment at this time. My assistant is not here. My girlfriend's not here. I could do something silly and only the people who are watching online would see it. My feet are on the ground. I feel grounded. I feel secure. I'm breathing. I'm not talking fast. I'm not anxious. I'm just here and I'm fully present in the moment. There's a car outside that's on because I can hear the engine. And I'm looking outside right now. Somebody has put a couple of items on the bench and it says free. I don't have the best eyesight, but I can see that it says free. I can smell Febreze. So my assistant probably used the restroom not too long ago because I still smell Febreze. But I'm fully grounded in the moment and I'm fully immersed in the moment. Do you know how difficult it is to be present? It's very difficult to be present. But when I want to be present, I just make sure that both my feet are on the ground. And this is also my trick for getting up in the morning. If you have ADHD like me, it can be a struggle to get up in the morning. I have like 7 alarm clocks on and sometimes I still oversleep things. So what I do now is when I wake up, I got to have my feet on the ground. So I can hit the snooze button. I don't just allow myself to hit the snooze button, but I need to have my feet on the ground. Because if I can wake up and I put my 2 feet on the ground, there's a good chance that I'm going to get up and I'm going to get something done. So we gotta ground ourselves. I see yoga teachers saying that they've taught yoga for 32 years. I like that. I like that. I like that. So I'm gonna go to bed and get good sleep tonight. And in 10 minutes, we'll do the full Q&A. Oh, yoga teacher, I guess this is a yoga drill. Like, I'm not a yoga instructor, but I guess it's like a little drill, exercise, type shit, something like that. I teach being mindful. That can be helpful. Because like I said, there's nothing worse than being in a funk, being depressed, and not knowing where to go next, not knowing what to do. I'm loving mental health at the VA. Oh, shout out to the VA in Augusta, Georgia. I did my training at the VA in Augusta, Georgia, and I can think back to some of the veterans that I had the chance to work with. So shout out to the VA in Augusta, Georgia. Military mental health. We got to talk more about it. Durum, I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting my comedy. I appreciate you. Javon says, found out that I'm constantly thinking of the future and completely ignore the present. Javon, that's how it is. When you think about the future too much, when you're always in the future, you have a tendency to be anxious. And when you're always in the past, you have a tendency to be depressed. So we want to be nostalgic and we want to be optimistic and we want to plan ahead. But if you're in the future all the time, you're going to be anxious. If you're in the past all the time, you're going to be depressed. The best moment is the moment that we're living in right now, but we can't figure out like what's going on because our brains are like there and here and all over the place. So grounding ourselves and just becoming present is a key way to just slow things down, catch your breath. Morgan Brussels sprouts, I've been good. Good to see you on TikTok. I've been good. I'm doing my breathing exercises. I'm grounding. If you gotta breathe like that, you gotta breathe like that. And Ron, it's a struggle. It's just, and I want people to know that it's a struggle. And JOJ, I'm not in the military, but shout out to everybody in the military, prior service, current service. But I'm not in the military, so I can't say that I am. I love the discounts, but I'm not in the military. But Ron, it is a struggle. It's very difficult to just sit there and to meditate. Carrie, good point. Lack of sleep. Lack of sleep is another thing that makes us depressed. And sometimes it's funny because sometimes you'll sleep a lot or not sleep enough because you're depressed. And being able to shake out of that funk is keeping you depressed. So it's weird with sleep. And self-awareness and pattern recognition is so helpful. That's why I would say if you can get a diagnosis, whether it's autism, ADHD, depression, PTSD, MDD, whatever the case is, getting a diagnosis is so key because it helps you understand yourself. Because nobody has these diagnoses without a pattern of them doing this type of thing over and over and over and over again. So how can you know that you are a certain thing if you can't track that thing? So for me, I've realized that I'm traveling all the time. I'm sleeping on planes. I'm here. I'm there. I'm in California. I'm in Alaska. Then I'm back in Georgia. Then I'm in South Carolina. Then I'm in Texas. I realized that I wasn't getting sleep and I wasn't taking care of myself. So that's why I don't want to, look like I'm flicking my middle finger off to y'all. But that's why I got this Oura ring. And I'm not affiliated with this brand at all, but this is an objective marker of my sleep. So I know that last night I slept 7 hours and 41 minutes, and I was in the bed for 9 hours because my ring told me. Versus some days where I can get like 4 hours of sleep, and I'm like, oh no, I think I slept okay. No, you didn't. You slept for 4 hours, and it's OURA. You slept for 4 hours. You didn't sleep for no 8 hours, but I thought that I slept for 8 hours. So because of how busy I am and how life is for me at this point in time, yeah, OURA. I know that if I don't have an objective marker of my sleep, I could go many days without sleep. I'm on here teaching people about getting sleep, insomnia. I'm teaching people about signs of bipolar disorder 1 and 2. I'm telling people to get sleep as a priority. What do I look like teaching people about sleep hygiene and I'm not sleeping myself? I'm from Ghana, West Africa. I gotta get some sleep. We gotta get some sleep. So, I mean, this is how I do it. Some people wear the Apple Watch. Some people just sleep well without like needing, trazodone, Benadryl, Oura Ring, or magnesium. And some of us need that stuff. So there's no shame in needing certain things to put yourself in a position to succeed. Tina, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. And that's the thing about suicide prevention. I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama, September. I don't know what date in September, but I'm hoping it's close to an Alabama football game, so that way I can go see the Crimson Tide play, and watch the stadium light up when they play Dixieland Delight. Good old Alabama football. Saturday nights. But I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama in September, talking about suicide prevention. Once again, I was in Woodstock, Alabama in February, and I was in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, I go to Atlanta like almost once a month at this point. But I was in Atlanta earlier in February talking about suicide prevention. So, I still play guitar and sing. Yeah. And no, I'm talking about Crimson Tide football. I'll make the drive from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa to go watch the Crimson Tide play. That's my squad. That's my squad. Yeah. That's my squad. And Ron, I'll say this real quick because I have a thought on it. We're 3 minutes away from the Q&A section, but how do you get over the fear of medication? You don't, right? How do you get over the fear of taking medication, right? Let's say you go into the doctor's office and they give you a Prozac or something like that, and they tell you that it takes 2 to 4 weeks for it to work and blah, blah, blah. How do you get over that fear? You don't get over that fear. It's a new thing. So if you weren't anxious, it'd be weird. Like if I gave a patient Paxil, I haven't used Paxil, but Prozac or whatever medication, and I explained the side effects and they took it without questioning me, that'd be weird because I'm like, yo, you've never taken this medication before. How are you so confident? Why aren't you scared? Like, it's a new thing. You should kind of be scared. Think about it. You should be scared to, I said square. You should be scared to try something new. So that's a very normal feeling. And you just, ask your provider questions about the medications, like learn about the potential side effects and what things, if they were to happen, will let you know that you have to stop the medication. But it's very normal to be afraid to take a brand new medication. Like, think about the first time that you rode a bike without the training wheels. It was very scary. Or Ron, think about the first time that you kissed a girl in like middle school, or wherever it was the first time. But the very first time, like, you were scared. I remember, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent, but I remember my first time. I was like, how was I think I was like maybe 16, 17. I was a late bloomer. But it was scary for me because I'm like, damn, like in the movies, like the guy just kissed a girl. Like, I'm like, how do I be smooth? Like, because like, what if I stick out my face like this and then she pulled back on me? Then I'm never gonna kiss a girl in my life. Like that's what I'm thinking to myself. It's just scary to, it's like the first time you kiss a girl, it's like, yo, like, and then like you lean in like this and then she kiss you back and you're like, I hope you don't make that sound when she kisses you, but like the first time it's scary. The first time you drive a car, first time you're in the highway, merging in, it's it's scary. It's the same thing with taking medications for the first time. Kaylee, what's going on, Kaylee Robinson? And yeah, that is rejection sensitivity at its finest. It is. And Andre Woltz, I will say that when you take an antidepressant, sometimes there's a you can have an increase in depressive symptoms sometimes. especially with teenagers and young adults. That's why they have the black box warning on them. So yeah, it's important to be educated on all of these things, because a lot of times we're afraid because of a lack of knowledge. Like, we don't know enough, so we're just we're a little scared. Shaq and Kobe's rapper, thank you. We're a little scared. So when we have information, it should make us feel a bit more confident. And sometimes you can have all the information in the world, and it's about taking that leap. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you're scared. I think we should say it more often. Like, I'm scared to do this thing. I'm scared to do that thing. I've never done this before. I'm scared. What do? I'm scared. Do you have tips dealing with PDA, mine, not anyone else's? All right, okay, so tips for pathological demand avoidance. And guys, we've crossed over into the Q&A section, so now I'll take the questions. I'm trying to bring some structure to this. If you're dealing with somebody who struggles with demand avoidance, it can be helpful to give them options, especially if it's something that they kind of have to do. The example I use is with kids. Kids have to brush their teeth because we don't want periodontal disease. We don't want cavities, right? So the kid has to brush their teeth. But instead of saying, you need to brush your teeth right now, or I'm taking away your Xbox, you say, Tim, I got a red toothbrush and a blue toothbrush. Which one do you want? Now the child is fixated on the fact that they have options and autonomy, as opposed to you shoving a toothbrush in their face, making them brush your teeth. So optionality is how we deal with demand avoidance. And keep in mind, a general rule of thumb, unhappiness a lot of times comes from a lack of options. If you're unhappy right now in a certain area of your life, it's probably because you don't feel like you have options in that area. So it's gonna make you feel like you have to do something. You don't have any autonomy. So we have to increase the optionality. We just need more options. In the world where we already have a lot of options, sometimes we need more options. Let me see. And I'm seeing some comments on Facebook. With bipolar disorder in general, anytime you take an antidepressant without a mood stabilizer, it increases the risk of mania. So, I mean, the best thing you can do in that situation, your provider just has to get the diagnosis right. And the way that I screen for bipolar disorder when a patient is depressed is I use something called the Mood Disorder Questionnaire. Y'all can look that up online and just see if, it means something to you. But the Mood Disorder Questionnaire is what I use with every patient who is depressed. So somebody comes into the office and they're depressed. Normally they go through the PHQ-9, which is the screening tool for depression, and they ask the other like sad questions, loss of interest, but they forget to do the Mood Disorder Questionnaire, which you should do, so that way you can screen out bipolar disorder. And you really should be screening out ADHD and autism and other things, but your average provider in the hospital just doesn't have the time. like inpatient, especially if you're in an inpatient hospital, like if you go to the psychiatric hospital, for the most part, nobody's going to screen you for neurodivergence. And they should screen for bipolar disorder, but sometimes they don't even do that. What's the difference in intrusive thoughts with anxiety versus OCD? So a key difference when it comes to OCD is with OCD, the intrusive thoughts that you have in OCD often don't go away until you have some type of action that comes behind it. Obsessive compulsive disorder. You have the obsessions, you have the compulsion. Like you feel like you have to do this thing. I gotta wash my hands. I gotta do a certain thing to feel better. And with anxiety, sometimes you can have this a general state of anxiety where it just kind of persists. I'm doing my best to answer these questions. Oh, good question right here by Kaylee. How do you feel when you don't take your stimulant? I guess this is a personal question, and I'll answer it. Sometimes I won't take it because I don't want to be on over the weekend so my nervous system can relax. But all I can seem to do is sleep when I don't take it. Oh, this is a great question right here. And because those of us with ADHD, sometimes we're tired because we're not stimulated, or we're tired because we're overstimulated. It's very interesting when it comes to ADHD. But at least for me, when I don't take my stimulants, and sometimes I will do that on the weekend, because on the weekend I'm like, I want to just be silly, goofy, and I want to be free. And I want to play NCAA. I want to hang out with the guys. I want to watch NBA highlights. I want to play NCAA, and do something with my girlfriend, whatever she wants to do. When I don't take my stimulants and I have activities that I enjoy, I don't feel much of a difference. But I do realize that I still delay in between tasks. When you're neurodivergent, there's a delay in between tasks. This is why it's so important to group your things together. If you're neurodivergent and you gotta wash dishes, you gotta take out the trash, and you have to do your taxes, it may be better to have one day for each thing, because as you transition from this to that to this, there's a delay. If it takes the average neurotypical person 5 minutes to go from the dishes to the trash, it could probably take you 15 minutes, 20 minutes. What's good, Sean? What's good, Sean? What's up, twin? So when I don't take my stimulants, I do realize that I'm not as sharp as I am, or I'm not as locked in. And sometimes I am tired, but if I have a stimulating activity in the morning, I'm okay. I'm okay. So on days where I don't take the stimulant, it's imperative for me to go to the gym in the morning, because I that's a funny comment on TikTok. I have realized that if I wake up and I go straight to the gym in the morning, I wake up, I go to the gym, I do my 10 minutes on the Stairmaster, I do my Shad, you got me weak. Shad, you got me weak on TikTok. If I wake up in the morning, I go to the gym, I do my 10 minutes in the Stairmaster, I do my 30 to 45 minutes cardio on the treadmill. I go lift for another 30, 40 minutes. If that's a workout that I do and I come back to the house without taking my stimulants, I feel like a rock star. Like I can go from that to a shower and I can wake up. I can start sending emails because I'm awake. Like the hardest part for me is starting the thing. Some people struggle with seeing the thing through. My issue is I need to start the thing. If I start the thing, then I'm able to see it to completion, but it's hard for me to start the thing. So for people like me, I gotta trick myself into clean the restroom. So I go into the bathroom. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to one Drake song and put my toothbrush away. And after I listen to one Drake song, like I get into like a good flow state and I'm rapping. I'm like, I'm gonna just clean this bathroom. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna clean the bathtub too. I work off of momentum. That's how I am. So if I'm not taking my medication, or if I ran out of medications, I haven't been able to pick up my medications in Los Angeles in a year now. The past year, I've been getting meds from South Carolina and Alaska. This is not even a joke. This is my real life. So if I'm out of my meds for a little bit, then the gym becomes that much imperative. And yes, you do have to wean off of your antidepressants. Ideally, you don't want to go like 80 milligrams to off. Like, you go like 80, 60, or like whatever your doctor tells you. Sean, yeah, music. I use music a lot to help me get things done. I use music and neurodivergence is there's a connection there. I use music to get things done. And I remember when I was in college, I'd have to drive from Ackworth, Georgia to Livingston, Alabama. And that would be 4 to 6 hour drive. All right, Kobe, hold that thought. With NCAA 26, and hear me out, Kobe. Me and my homeboy Mike, we have a NCAA dynasty, and we're serious players. We advance the franchise every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're serious. If you want to be a part of the dynasty, let me know, Kobe. I'll put you in. Let me know. Let me know. And I'll let Mike know, and I'll see if he can get into the dynasty. But anyway, what I was saying is, when I was driving from like my parents' house in Ackworth, Georgia to college in Livingston, Alabama, that was a 4 to 5 hour drive. And to make the drive fun for me, instead of me doing like timing my drive, what I would do is I would play like 3 or 4 Drake albums. Each Drake album would be like an hour and a half. So I would say, all right, Kojo, today we're gonna listen to So Far Gone by Drake. It's a mixtape, but you get the point. So Far Gone, Thank Me Later, and Take Care. 3 albums by Drake. And I'll put on these 3 albums, and it's be like an hour and a half, and I might have like a couple of J. Cole songs at the end or whatever. But I'd have these 3 albums playing, and by the time the albums are done, I'm at school. I'm at the University of West Alabama. Instead of like looking at the roads like, oh, I'm 175 miles away from Tuscaloosa. I'm not thinking about that because I made the drive fun for me. You gotta make things fun for yourself if you're neurodivergent. However fun you can make it, like fun and simplicity are so key. And Andrew says getting started is definitely the hardest. It is. What do you think about the lonely male epidemic happening in our society? What is it and how are male adolescents affected? This is a good question. This is a great question. This is also on topic if we're talking about depression in males. I'll tell y'all. Actually, let me get some water right now. Somebody dropped a magic word in the chat. Kobe, you can join the franchise. I don't think you should play as Marshall. I'm really good at NCAA. I would recommend you go with Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, because Kobe, you my guy. But on the sticks, I can't show you there's no mercy. I'm going to try and score 100 points on you. So I'll drop the magic word in the chat, and then I will cheers. There we go. Cheers. All right. So cheers. Let me go get a water bottle, and then we get going. This is the magic. I mean, this the water break happens at the 30-minute mark. It's really the 42-minute mark for us now, but this is the magic. This is a water break. The magic word is cheers. Let's go ahead and get some water in. Whatever beverage you have, it works. I'm gonna go with just the typical water type. Big cheers, y'all. Ooh, Kobe, I am good at NCAA. I will score 100 points on you, but you're my guy. Let's get the mosquito out of here. All right, so to answer Joseph's question, what do you think about the lonely male epidemic happening in our society? What is it, and how are male adolescents affected? All right, so the truth of the matter is the average guy, and I don't know what average is, but let me just give y'all, you're a 25-year-old male in Dallas, Texas. Actually, let me not have an average guy. Let me just have a guy doing well in life. A 25-year-old male in Dallas, Texas, who's making $80,000 a year. I know that inflation has made it, inflation's still a thing, but 25-year-old male in Dallas, Texas, single, no kids, no dependent, making $85,000 a year in a city where the cost of living is affordable. That guy, if he goes to work and comes home and handles his responsibilities, and he's not like big on social media or whatever, that guy who is doing really well in life, probably in the top 5-10%, that guy is going to be invisible because of how things are on social media. So on social media, the attention is going to mainly women and to guys who have a big platform or, who are flashy. And there's never been a time that the average person, and if you're that guy who's making $85,000 in Dallas, Texas, as a single male, you're not average. You're well above average. But for the average male, there's never been a time that they've been so invisible. And because guys are judged off of what value they bring to others, if you look on social media and you see there's other guys who are driving like super fast cars, Ferraris, and they're surrounded by beautiful women, or they're living a life that you don't see yourself living, that can be depressing. And what do guys want the most or think about the most in life? It's normally women and or money, right? And financial opportunities and dating opportunities. So when we're in this recession or this global economy and it's hard to get a job and it's hard to take care of yourself, that's it's going to be depressing. When you live in a day and age where most of us are reduced to a click on social media, on dating apps, like a swipe left or swipe right, whatever the platform is. And Piano Man G41, I appreciate you. That can be depressing. You cannot feel somebody's aura or their vibe from a dating app. But as a woman, you have so many different options on Tinder or Hinge and I've asked my my friends who are women, I'm like, hey, do you mind letting me see like can I see your Hinge or your Tinder? Can I see how many like options you have? And this blew my mind. I'm not on dating apps. I don't know how that stuff works, but it blew my mind. I would take their phones and they would have tons, like I would be swiping. I'm like, yo, all these guys smash with you. All these guys smash with you. And I agree, the app's not like the best for women either. I don't think I don't think the apps are designed to help you find your person. They're designed to help you pay a little bit extra money and see who's interested in you. It's a business, and they're gonna capitalize off of your desire to find partnership. But on the apps, like, and this is with multiple women, and I know I live in Los Angeles, so y'all are gonna say, "Oh yeah, well, LA women are like." I've tried this with friends of mine in Alabama and Georgia. I look through all their options on the Tinder, whatever. I'm like, yo, all of these guys, just a lot of guys. You mean to tell me all these guys want to like get to know you? And then you go talk to the average guy and look at his options. It's like 1, 2. And the apps are not an accurate reflection of like what things actually are. But if you're a guy and you're not, you have to be around people to make friends, to meet potential dating partners. But when we're depressed as men, we tend to stay inside the house, drink a little something, smoke a little something, hop on the game. You're not going to meet anybody like that, and you're relegated to online dating options. Not helpful. Theory Minaj, I appreciate you, and sorry for your loss. And do you think society is becoming more accepting of men needing help? I think we're getting there, but at the same time, I do know that and I hate the gender wars, though. I hate gender wars. They're so dumb. Like, I believe that the majority of men want to be around other cool guys and make friends, and they want to find romantic partners, whoever you're interested in. And I believe the same thing for women. But if you look on social media, it's gonna make it look like we're doing this all the time. And we are more accepting of men needing help, but there are a group of women who have been wronged, and all of the things that happened to them were valid, like all the trauma, and that's valid. But there are people from either side that hate the other gender. So if you hate the other gender, then you see men taking care of themselves. You don't care about it. When I come on the live stream and I say, hey, we have to promote male mental health, that lady might say, well, why? The patriarchy did this to me. And I'm not saying that that's not a valid point. We don't have to conflate the two. We can acknowledge what the patriarchy did wrong while also recognizing that there's this guy here who's depressed, who's asking for help, and he's a human being who's worthy of love, attention, and respect. So it's not an either or, it's an and thing. Like, we can take care of this issue and we can also take care of that issue. It doesn't have to be like one or the other. You feel me? Like, you feel me? So, like, for the average guy, it's difficult. And people will say like, oh, well, how do you know? I know because I remember what life was like before I had like all the followers. And even sometimes if people don't know who I am, then I get average guy treatment. Like, people, if you can't do anything for somebody as a man, Like, what value do you have in the world? Those are the thoughts that you have as a guy. And if you're depressed and you're down and out, the negative voices become louder. Now the positive ones become so much quieter. So, and when we have men who are able to regulate themselves emotionally, men who are happy, men who are productive citizens in society, guess what? The women do better because guys are stronger, guys are bigger. So women are gonna need the guys for protection, and likewise, men will need women for intuition, all of the emotional intelligence skills that they have. It can be complementary. It don't have to be one or the other. Like, we all need each other. You feel me? Linda says my major depression ended up being untreated ADHD. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier in the live stream. Sometimes if you don't know what the source of your depression is, and it's undiagnosed neurodivergence, it's like, hey, what are some neurodivergent men struggles in counseling? Oh, so many. Rejection, sensitivity. We spoke about that earlier, but if you're neurodivergent, you don't, you know, typically do too well with rejection. So rejection, sensitivity, having a hard time opening up, demand avoidance, sensory overload, and protect women from what other. Sometimes you gotta protect women from other men, and not all men are bad, but the men who are bad happen to be pretty bad. And not all women are bad, but the women who are, bad or harmful or hurt other people, like, they can be pretty bad. Whenever we have these conversations, they have to be very nuanced because people like to conflate and just take one thing and come out with one thing and say, "Oh, it's all this, it's all that." Maybe it's not. Maybe we just gotta make it more nuanced. You feel me? For me, sex gender roles shouldn't exist in a relationship because in a relationship you're supposed to fill in and help with what your loved ones lack. Okay, I respect that. I respect that. And if that's how you run your relationship and it works for you, shouldn't nobody come in and say that you gotta have the gender roles because you found a system that works for you. You found a system that works for you. How do you explain the apparent importance to medicate his teen for ADHD? Teen is struggling. Butterfly. I've done this multiple times. Uh, when you're dealing with parents, you have to understand that parenting is the hardest job on the planet, and there's no playbook for it. So as a parent, you're going to naturally default to fear out of your desire to protect your kids. So if somebody is telling you that your child needs to take a medication to help them focus and to help them do better in school, as a parent, your first thought may be to be a bit hesitant and paranoid because what is this medication? What are you giving my child? What is it going to make them do? What are the side effects? You're going to be fearful initially. And that's why I think it's helpful to come with the facts. You got to come with the facts. Let the parent know, hey, it's not mandatory for your child to take medications, but that's how you have to start off. If you start off with, oh, this is the only thing we can do for the kid. The only thing we can do is give medications. You'd have messed up. You've messed up because now you've made it seem like that's the only thing that can be done for the kid. No, we can do a lot more. We can, do therapy, individual therapy, group therapy, lifestyle modifications, exercise. Like, it's not just medications, but sometimes providers push at the parents. Yeah. There are birds out here. Clearly, you can tell I'm not in California. We got these ravens, these birds be singing, they be dancing. I saw a bird twerk outside the grocery store today. the bird was dancing like this. I was like, what's going on? But you don't want parents to be fearful, so you don't force them to take to give their kids meds. You say, hey, dad claims he doesn't need it because he's a straight A student. So, I bet. So you can be a straight A student and still have ADHD. The thing is, the straight A student who has ADHD is probably struggling, and if they have ADHD, their ADHD is more than likely the inattentive type. So you don't see that they're reading lines over and over again. You don't see the fact that this person is um, frustrated because they have to spend 3 times the amount of time to get a certain task done. You don't see all that. You don't see that. And you can let the parent know that, hey, it's not a requirement that the child take these meds, but the medications can help the child be effective and efficient. So now instead of it taking you 4 hours to do your homework every night, you got the homework done in 40 minutes because you were able to start it, you're able to see it through without interruptions, and you completed the task. And then you can also give them the facts and say the ADHD medications, they help to cut down on the rates of teenage pregnancy. They help to cut down on the likelihood of a car accident. They help to cut down on substance abuse. Give them the facts. We can't argue with facts. I mean, you can argue facts, but if something is objective, how can you argue with objective data? You really can't do it. Is that a fly or a moth flying behind me? I don't see anything flying behind me. All I saw was my assistant come and get the car keys and dip out, but I ain't see nothing fly behind me. Butterfly 83, no problem. Oh, maybe. All right, I figure you'll play around with me. The struggle is getting diagnosed as a 27-year-old woman who struggles daily and cannot take care of herself. Naomi, and this is why I tell people that ADHD by itself can be extremely depressing. And untreated ADHD, I believe that if you have untreated ADHD and you're undiagnosed, is going to lead to depression 100% of the time. Not 99, but like 100%, because you feel helpless, you feel hopeless, you don't know how to start. It takes energy to start, and everything takes energy. So you're like, okay, what should do I do first? Like, where do I start? And after you're burnt out, you just decide to become helpless. Like, I tried. KR says, Kodo specifically, how do you respond to and handle people who don't believe ADHD is a real condition, especially family members who are from an older generation? All right, so my thing is, and thank you for the super chat, Wisdom of Truth. I'll answer your question next. I don't believe in convincing anybody of anything. And I come from a foreign background. Like, I'm from Ghana, West Africa. And my community, they don't believe in mental health like that for real. If you take medications, you're weird, you're bizarre. That's what they say. And I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 26 years old. And I started taking medications. And I went from almost failing out my doctoral program to graduating with my doctorate degree, going to Virginia, having my own unit of patients. I had 20 patients. I worked in a forensic psychiatry environment for 16 months. And on the side, I started doing social media. I grew to 400,000 followers. I moved to Los Angeles. And then, after working hard in LA, I grew from 400,000 followers to 4.5 million followers. I got to promote the 95th Oscars. I get to be on TV regularly. Like, all these things that I've done, I tell people, my family, hey, the big moment for me in my life, the catalyst was getting diagnosed with ADHD, understanding myself better, making lifestyle modifications, and taking medications. I tell people what I did, and they still question me, and they still question whether ADHD or mental illness is real. So I don't know what else to say. Kaylee, I don't know what else to say. Like, what I've done, anybody can do that thing in their domain as long as you have passion about what you're doing and you enjoy it. But me receiving a diagnosis and getting medications, for me, medications were so helpful. I don't know how I do it without the meds. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I'm not going to act like I'm a superhuman. I needed the medications, and I needed the lifestyle modifications to drop the sugar, to hit the gym, to stay away from people who don't have my best interests at heart, to stay away from non-transactional relationships. It made all the difference in the world. So if you tell somebody that, then it's somebody, you're probably talking to somebody who's hell-bent on not understanding you or not understanding mental health in general. I didn't have an IEP or a 504. I just got suspended. They just told me I was a bad kid. You know, they said that I was trying to like play with the girl's hair, and well, yeah, I was trying to mess around with the girls, but you know, I couldn't focus. Wisdom and truth. Thank you for the super chat. What are your thoughts on avoiding attachment and narcissism in parenting and couples? Ooh, it's a two-part question. And then also, what are your thoughts on Adderall versus non-stimulants? All right, I'll answer both of these questions. These are two good questions, really good questions. What are your thoughts on avoidant attachment and narcissism and parenting in couples? All right, so when it comes to attachment styles, take the avoidant attachment style, right? And look at narcissism. Narcissism is a personality disorder, but you tend to see narcissism with the avoidant attachment. There's a lot of overlap there. If you are somebody who's been parented by a parent who is avoidant and or narcissistic, there's a good chance that you're going to have a hard time speaking up for yourself. You're going to have a hard time feeling safe in relationships. So this is where people often tend to develop personality disorders on their own. There's a good chance that if you grow up in a household where your parents are avoidant and or narcissistic, that you end up with borderline personality disorder, because you don't know if your actions will lead to you being reprimanded, because you did certain things as a child and you weren't given options. Whenever you felt a certain way, your parents did something that made you feel like you weren't emotionally safe. So now in all your relationships with everybody in your life, you don't feel like you can be yourself. Because if you are yourself and you express yourself, you don't know if this person is going to leave because of how your parents parented you. And now you have this intense fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, and that, manifested to the highest degree can become a personality disorder like borderline personality disorder. And also, if you grow up with a parent who has BPD, that could also lead to you having BPD, or it could even lead to you having an avoidant attachment styles. A lot of this has to do with how we were parented as kids and the things that happened during those formative years. Like your childhood we don't realize how much of an impact our childhoods have on us until we either get into a situation as an adult where we're in a moment of crisis, or you get into a relationship. Anything that forces you to put the mirror up to yourself is very difficult to deal with what you find. Because when you find something, you have to address it. Like, oh my goodness, I have borderline personality disorder because of how my parents parented me. And a lot of times that can be because of undiagnosed neurodivergence. And then you go on this quest to learn yourself more. This stuff gets deep, y'all. It gets deep. Also, what are your thoughts on Adderall versus non-stimulants? All right, so this is what I'll say about Adderall, or just stimulants versus non-stimulant. Adderall is a type of stimulant, and there's more stimulants. So I believe that stimulants are the big boys, right? The stimulants are the Barry Bonds of ADHD medications. So if you're down 4-1, it's the bottom of the ninth inning, and the bases are loaded, and a grand slam will win you the game, you want Barry Bonds to be a bat. You want a big boy. You feel me? You're down. It's the ninth inning. You're down 3 runs. Like you need help. You go with the big boy. You go with the Barry Bonds. You go with the stimulants. If you have ADHD and your ADHD affects you on a severe level, you have a hard time starting things. You have a hard time dealing with rejection. You have a hard time seeing things through to completion. Is leading to you being depressed. Is leading to you isolating yourself. Is leading to you not understanding yourself on a level to where you can advocate for yourself. Is leading to you having worsening the depression. Is leading to you feeling helpless and hopeless and having thoughts of you not wanting to be here, so on and so forth. And it gets worse and worse and worse. If your ADHD is so severe, we need to go with the big boys because it's the bottom of the ninth inning and we need a grand slam. So when push comes to shove, like the bottom of the ninth inning, it's a full count. Oh no, this is not the time for clonidine. This is not the time for Strattera. It's not the time for it's not the time for declining patch. It's the time for a big boy. We need the big boys to come out to play because, hey, this is severe ADHD. So the stimulants are the first line treatment for ADHD, but everything got side effects, and things affect us differently. So if it's somebody who has an extensive cardiac history, and it's a kid, and the parents are concerned about that being a thing, then okay, we can get an EKG to look at the heart health. But if the side effects just are not tolerable for somebody, we got non-stimulants. We got the clonidines, the Wellbutrins, the Strateras, things like that. Stephanie, what's going on? Stephanie's a day one on my live stream on TikTok. So whenever I see Stephanie or Ayla or the day ones, it makes me so happy. How you been, Stephanie? But yeah, nothing's wrong with the non-stimulants. And if you're able to use a non-stimulant to achieve the desired outcome and you do great, even better. Right. It's been 5 years, right? It's been 5 years. And there's a follow-up question to the question that Wisdom of Truth had. I even believe for teenagers and sometimes grade school kids, stimulants, if the ADHD is so severe, I'm not opposed to trying it. And keep in mind, you can always try it. You can stop it. You can give it a shot. Jennifer Lynn, how are you? From Oklahoma. Oh, Liz, listen. Barry Bonds used steroids, so maybe a good analogy. Oh my gosh. Well, insert I was gonna say Sammy Sosa, but not him. I was gonna say Mark McGwire, but not him. Insert Chipper Jones. Insert Austin Riley. Acuna. I'm thinking Braves players. Ohtani. I think Ohtani didn't use steroids. So let's go Ohtani. Let's go with somebody who didn't use steroids. Liz, why you gotta do me like that? Just got back from New York City. Hey, that's what's up. How the kids, Stephanie? Jordan. So it just depends on what the medication was prescribed for, but people switch from one med to all the time. It's I think it's a fairly basic thing, but a lot of people's PCPs manage their medications, and it can be hard to manage meds when it's a primary care provider, because psychotropic medications, you kind of have to know what you're doing. And yes, Kaylee, I have many patients who take an antidepressant and a stimulant as well. I think it really just comes down to having a provider who knows what they're doing. Lyric, oh my gosh, time is going by so fast. So, what's going on? All psychiatrists and doctors do is just push pills. What type of pill? It's disgusting. What type of pills being pushed? I don't think that's all that they do, but that's anytime, Jordan. Dang, I should have remembered that Barry Bonds used steroids. I don't know how old y'all are, but Barry Bonds, who played for the Pirates before he used steroids, he was still a big bat. I just want to say that, and we can move on. He was still a big bat. Jacqueline, how are you, my fellow 757 friend? I appreciate you. I miss everybody back in Virginia. Man, that was my people right there. Go through a couple of. Let's see. My old lady saying how much time I got. Because she's late and I got some more time. Let me see what she's saying. Not sure, but I was gonna hit the gym first. Gonna hit the gym after the She hungry is gonna be a problem. I gotta make sure she eat. Stephanie, we're good. We've been traveling. The guys are good. Kwame, my brother, didn't finish college. Rob is going to be 20 next week. So we're all good. We're growing. They're doing social media. And yeah, the same thing I teach people here on social media. I tell my people to do the same. Like, hey, let's wake up, let's take care of ourselves, let's hit the gym, let's make our content, let's stay positive. Kaylee, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Kaylee on Facebook says they love how the lives on Facebook are used to bring people together. And Kaylee, people like Stephanie and like all the day ones on TikTok, they know that this community it's a community for all. It's a community for all. Any advice on women dating men who struggle with mental illness but won't seek help? Oh yeah, I got some tips for that. Any advice on women dating men who struggle with mental illness but won't seek help? One of the best ways that we avoid, we like to one of the, it's not just women, but everybody, but we're talking about women here. One of the favorite ways that we like to avoid working on ourselves is by looking to fix other people. So if you're a woman and you're dating somebody who struggles with mental illness, but they won't seek help, you probably get a self-esteem boost from fixing people. You can't fix somebody who doesn't want the help, but you can be there for them when they're ready to accept the help. I will say that. So, not that you have to leave that person. If you're dating somebody who does not want to seek help, it can be difficult. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna be hard. Not impossible, but it will be hard. So boundaries will be needed. But the best thing you can do is probably position yourself to be able to help them out the moment that they're willing to accept the help. But it's tough when you're in that position and you're in love and you want to help them for them, but you can't. Wisdom and truth, no problem. I've seen a loved one become more anxious and have strong dependency, panic attacks. Uh, Wisdom and truth, are you saying that you've seen a loved one become more anxious with the stimulants? Because that could definitely happen. It's not just oh, don't forget to call grandma. Okay. All right, bet. Sounds good. In 5 minutes, I'll end the stream and I'll call grandma. Thank you so much. I almost forgot to call my grandma. I'm gonna call her in 5. But yeah, sometimes the stimulants have side effects that make it difficult for you to take them, and in that case, then that we can use the non-stimulants. Some people like to use non-stimulants if there's a fear of addiction. But the interesting thing is, a lot of people who have ADHD will use substances because they're trying to self-medicate because they don't know what's going on. So if they had the proper medications, they probably wouldn't self-medicate. So it's like a chicken and egg thing. Like, what came first? Providers, it makes their head spin sometimes. And Christina says, what's wrong with getting medication and therapy? Nothing. That's the preferred, that's preferred. If you live in the United States, well, not just US, if you're anywhere in the world and you're able to access medications and therapy, you are extremely blessed. You're living right. You're living right. You're living right. Penguin, I appreciate you. Ja, what meds did I say? I forgot. Is there anything wrong with being very frustrated when cut off when speaking and you don't even speak? Oh, yeah. Look, if somebody cuts you off while you're talking, like, that's going to piss you off. And sometimes we do that too. Like, those of us who have ADHD, we want to interrupt people while they're talking. But having grace for people can be helpful. So that way, when we slip up and we cut somebody mid-sentence, they can give us some grace as well. Hi, Hey, Ashton said, I saw my therapist after 2 months. I feel like a new person. That's what's up. Why do some psychiatrists rush you and don't take the time to listen to your symptoms? All right, I'll answer this question, and then I gotta call my grandma back. So, why do some psychiatrists rush you and don't take the time to listen to your symptoms? This has to do with, I think it has to do with the structure of how things work medically and how people are paid, right? So if you are, yes, grandma is my old lady, not my old lady like my girlfriend. Yeah. But the person who asked that question, so when you're talking to the psychiatrist, a lot of psychiatrists, not a lot, but quite a few will have an assumption that if you have a therapist, that you can iron out your issues with your therapist because you have more time with your therapist, which is fairly true. Because if it's a medication management follow-up appointment, you could have anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, whereas you have an hour with your therapist. So there is some truth to that. Um, it's more efficient if you iron out a lot of the issues with your therapist. But I do believe that it's helpful for your psychiatrist to know some of the key issues, because if they know those key issues, they can put you in a better position to succeed. And sometimes you don't need to get meds from your psychiatrist. It could just be helpful to sit and talk for those 15, 20 minutes or 25 if somebody cancels behind you and they have more time for you. But some people run, hospitals and practices where they really do just push pills. And if they can get you in and get you out in 10, 15 minutes, then they can get somebody else in and get them in and out in 10, 15 minutes. And then you get to build more, you get to make more money. And it's capitalism, it's America, and it's unfortunate. And then I know some psychiatrists who they have outstanding people skills. So you can spend 14 minutes with them, but they can make you feel like y'all spent an hour together because they listened to you. They didn't rush you. If you need more time, they could adjust. So it's a lot of it has to do with the rapport that you have with the patient, and just being able to prioritize, right? So if we're going to do medication adjustments, all right, let's do the adjustments, but it's cool to check it and see how have you been, like what all is going on in your life, because all those things are interconnected. Or maybe reading some of the notes from the therapist. But all those things are helpful. I think that the best practitioners are the ones who are able to do something that's called brief supportive psychotherapy. So yeah, they prescribe the meds, but they also do some therapy to where it doesn't feel so transactional. I think that's the issue. If it feels so transactional, it's like, damn, like you just talked to me for like 5-10 minutes and you hit the refill on the meds and like you're kicking me out. You want to talk to somebody else, and it doesn't make you feel valued as a person. So I don't think every psychiatrist is evil or anything like that. Just there's a way to go about things, and maybe there's some room for improvement based off of how your provider does things. And Stephanie, a lot of primary PCPs manage mental health medications, and I'm okay with that because like we're in a shortage and this is how things are. But depending on how complex it gets, it's better to get a psychiatric professional, because I can tell, I can look at somebody's medications if they've been with a PCP, and I'm like, oh yeah, this ain't right. This ain't right. I mean, I can tell in like 5 seconds. I'm like, person has bipolar disorder. You have them on 2 antidepressants and no mood stabilizers. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like that's why they're manic. Like this is why we're having the issues that we're having. Yeah, but I don't think that PCP should stop it, because in fact, I think PCP should, receive more education, because there's so many people out there who are under-medicated, incorrectly medicated, over-medicated. So we got to take like an all hands on deck approach. Everybody got to get their hands in and get dirty and help out. Won't let me join the Discord for your panel. Okay, so Scale Crafts, I'll talk to my assistant about how we can make the Discord, like how we can fix the Twitch Discord. Like I haven't used Twitch in like 4 years, and I'm just now back on it, and I'm doing my best to be consistent. So we'll fix that. Okay, all right, y'all. I do have to call. I gotta call Grandma, y'all. So I gotta get off of here. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all back tomorrow at the same time. So it's a bird outside. I don't have no bird in the house. It's a bird outside. Ashlyn, thank you so much. I gotta call Grandma. So Scalecraft, thank you for the follow on Twitch. we're gonna be making Twitch a priority here. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you.